Good evening. I want to talk to you about something that's been on my mind, something too many of us are guilty of. And that's playing small. You've been taught to be nice, to be accommodating, to smile and keep things easy. But let me tell you, being nice is not a ticket to success. Stop playing small. This is a phrase we often hear, but do we really understand what it means? For many of us, especially in a world that constantly pressures us to fit in and conform, it can be easy to shrink ourselves down, to tone down our ambitions, our dreams, and our presence just to make others feel more comfortable. We've been conditioned to be polite, to avoid confrontation, and to make sure everyone else feels at ease, often at the expense of our own power and potential. But here's the truth: playing small is a disservice to you and everyone around you. When you play small, you dim your light, your abilities, and your voice. You step back from the room, from the table, from your potential, and you let others take up the space that was always meant for you. You hold yourself back because you're afraid of standing out, afraid of making someone uncomfortable, or afraid of rejection. But the cost of this is high. It's the cost of never fully stepping into who you're meant to be. It's the cost of letting fear and insecurity control your actions instead of your purpose and your vision. Every time you shrink back, you're telling yourself and the world that you're not worthy of being heard, seen, or celebrated. But here's the thing: you have every right to occupy the space you deserve. No one has the power to make you feel small unless you give them that power. And it's time to stop giving it away. It's time to stop playing small in a world that desperately needs your light, your ideas, your energy. The truth is, the world doesn't need you to shrink. It needs you to show up, to stand tall, and to take up all the space that you were born to fill. This isn't just about confidence, it's about owning your worth. When you stop playing small, you stop apologizing for your ambition, your dreams, your success. Too often, we're taught that in order to be accepted, we need to minimize ourselves. We need to make others feel more comfortable with our success, our intelligence, our drive. But that's not how success works. Success is about owning your potential without apology, without fear, and without shrinking to make others feel better. When you stop playing small, you're telling the universe that you're ready to face challenges head on, ready to seize opportunities, ready to stop waiting for permission and to start creating your own path. It's about understanding that you don't need anyone's validation to move forward. The only approval you need is your own. When you step into your power, you open the door for others to do the same. You become a living example of what it means to live authentically, to take risks, and to achieve greatness. It's not always easy. The world will try to tell you that it's better to play it safe, to fit into the mold that's already been created for you. But when you play small, you forfeit the opportunity to create something new, something that's never been seen before. Your unique voice, your unique perspective is what the world needs. The impact you can have when you stop playing small can ripple out in ways you can't even imagine. You have something special inside of you. It's time to let it out. Every time you hold yourself back, you're preventing someone else from seeing what's possible. You're preventing yourself from seeing what's possible. The fear of standing tall, of occupying the space that's rightfully yours, is only holding you back from becoming the person you were meant to be. It's time to challenge that fear. It's time to rise above it. So stop playing small. The world needs your gifts, your talents, your strengths. Don't let fear or insecurity hold you back. Don't let anyone make you feel like you don't deserve to be seen, heard, or respected. The moment you step into your full power, you not only change your life, but the lives of everyone around you. Playing small only keeps you stuck. Stepping into your greatness sets you free. Take up space. Own your power. Step into the greatness that is waiting for you. Being nice is often seen as a virtue, a quality that is admired in almost every culture and situation. It's taught from a young age, ingrained into us as something to aspire to, something that will make us liked, accepted, and appreciated. But there's a big difference between being kind and being weak. Kindness is a strength, but when you mistake it for weakness or allow it to become a tool for manipulation or self-sacrifice, it can lead you down a path of disrespect and self-neglect. The truth is, being nice for the sake of being liked, or being nice to avoid conflict, can actually work against you. Let's be clear, kindness should never come at the cost of your integrity or self-respect. True kindness comes from a place of strength that's rooted in your ability to give without expectation, to support without being taken advantage of, and to help without losing sight of your own needs. But when being nice becomes an excuse to tolerate disrespect, to allow people to walk over you, or to avoid confrontation at all costs, it's no longer kindness, it's weakness. You've probably experienced it before. You've been nice because you didn't want to upset someone, you didn't want to rock the boat, or you wanted to be the good guy in a situation. But instead of being appreciated for your kindness, you were taken for granted. Your boundaries were pushed, your voice was ignored, and your needs were put on the back burner. In those moments, being nice didn't serve you, it only made you feel small, unseen, and disrespected. The irony here is that the very thing you were doing to maintain peace, being nice, was what led to the imbalance in the first place. When kindness crosses into weakness, it's because you're allowing yourself to be used, you're giving without receiving, you're prioritizing others at the expense of yourself, and you're accepting behavior that doesn't align with your values or self-worth. But here's the thing, kindness is not about allowing others to walk all over you, nor is it about saying yes to everything just to keep the peace. True kindness requires boundaries. It requires strength. It requires knowing when to say no and when to protect your peace. If you're always saying yes to people who don't respect you, if you're constantly sacrificing your own needs for the comfort of others, that's not kindness, that's enabling bad behavior. We all want to be liked, and we all want to make people happy. But the problem with being nice to everyone all the time is that it often means suppressing your own truth, your own voice. It's the uncomfortable reality that when you put everyone else's feelings before your own, you lose sight of who you are and what you stand for. The people who respect you, who value you for who you are the ones who will appreciate your honesty and authenticity. They're the ones who will respect your boundaries, your opinions, and your decisions. On the other hand, those who seek to manipulate or take advantage of your kindness will only see your willingness to be nice as an invitation to take more from you until there's nothing left. Here's a hard truth: you can be kind and still set boundaries. You can be helpful and still protect your time and energy. You can be compassionate and still stand firm in your principles. It's not about being mean or turning your back on others. It's about understanding that your kindness isn't a currency to be spent recklessly or a tool to be used by others for their gain. When you stop seeing kindness as something you give out of obligation and instead start viewing it as a choice rooted in respect for yourself and others, you'll see a shift. People will treat you differently. They will start respecting you more because you're showing them how to treat you. You're showing them that you won't tolerate mistreatment and that your kindness is a gift, not something to be taken for granted. And more importantly, you'll start respecting yourself more because you'll no longer feel the need to be liked at all costs. You'll be free to be authentic, to be true to yourself, and to offer your kindness in a way that's balanced, healthy, and empowering. Being nice shouldn't mean sacrificing your self-worth. You can be kind and still demand respect. You can be gentle and still stand strong in your principles. It's time to stop confusing kindness with weakness. True kindness is rooted in strength, boundaries, and self-respect. When you learn to give from a place of power, you'll not only respect yourself more, but you'll also command the respect of others. And that's when the real transformation begins. Setting clear boundaries is one of the most important aspects of maintaining self-respect and ensuring that your relationships, whether personal or professional, are healthy and balanced. Unfortunately, many people, especially those who are constantly trying to please others, fail to establish these boundaries and, as a result, find themselves feeling drained, disrespected, or even taken advantage of. The idea of setting boundaries can feel uncomfortable or even selfish to some, but the truth is, it's not selfish at all. It's essential. Boundaries are not about keeping people out. They're about creating a space where mutual respect can thrive, where your needs are honored, and where you can be your authentic self without fear of being manipulated or mistreated. One of the reasons people struggle with setting boundaries is that they fear conflict. We're taught from a young age to be nice, to avoid confrontation, and to go along with what others want, especially in order to avoid making waves. But here's the reality: avoiding conflict does not lead to peace. In fact, it often leads to resentment, frustration, and a sense of being powerless. When you fail to set boundaries, you let others take control of the narrative. You allow their desires, needs, and expectations to dictate your actions, even if it goes against what you need or believe. This doesn't just hurt you in the moment, it builds up over time, creating a cycle of feeling unheard, disrespected, and unnoticed. Without boundaries, you end up sacrificing your own sense of self in the name of keeping the peace, and that is not sustainable. Setting boundaries is about showing others how to treat you, but it's also about showing yourself that you value your own time, energy, and emotions. It's about understanding that your needs and desires are just as important as anyone else's. When you set boundaries, you create a framework for healthy interactions, whether it's in friendships, romantic relationships, or at work, where respect is mutual and both parties are clear about what's acceptable and what's not. Boundaries allow you to take control of your life instead of leaving it up to others. They provide structure, security, and freedom. It's important to recognize that boundaries are not always obvious to others. They won't always know what you need unless you make it clear. And making it clear doesn't mean being rude or aggressive. It means being direct, assertive, and honest about your limits. If you don't make your boundaries known, people may unknowingly cross them. And over time, they may begin to expect more from you than you're willing or able to give. This creates an imbalance in the relationship, and ultimately, it's your responsibility to maintain that balance. By setting boundaries, you let others know what is and isn't acceptable in a way that is respectful to both them and yourself. You teach people how to treat you by being clear and consistent in your actions and communication. Understanding the importance of self-worth is the cornerstone of building a strong and resilient mindset. Self-worth isn't about arrogance or inflated self-image. It's about recognizing your intrinsic value as a person, regardless of external validation or approval. It's the internal belief that you deserve respect, happiness, and success because you are enough just as you are. When you truly understand your worth, you stop settling for less than what you deserve. You stop allowing others to define your value, and you begin to take responsibility for your own self-perception and growth. The foundation of self-worth lies in how you view yourself, and this perception is often shaped by your experiences, the people you surround yourself with, and the messages you internalize from society. However, it's crucial to recognize that your worth is not defined by external factors. It's something inherent within you. This is the difference between having self-esteem that is tied to external accomplishments or approval versus having self-worth that is unshakable and independent. When your self-worth is rooted in internal validation, you don't need anyone else's permission or acknowledgement to feel good about yourself. Your sense of value is constant, regardless of how others treat you or what others think of you. It's easy to get caught in the trap of seeking validation from outside sources. Whether it's from family, friends, colleagues, or even social media, we live in a world that constantly reinforces the idea that our worth is contingent upon others' opinions. We work hard to meet societal expectations, hoping that once we hit certain milestones, be it in our career, relationships, or appearance, people will see us as valuable. But this cycle can lead to disappointment and frustration. It creates a vicious cycle where our happiness becomes contingent on external factors that we cannot always control, and our self-worth fluctuates based on how others perceive us. However, when you learn to value yourself from within, you stop seeking outside validation to feel worthy. You understand that your value is not dependent on the approval of others, and this freedom allows you to live authentically. The more you practice self-worth, the more you start to demand respect from others. You begin to hold yourself to a higher standard, recognizing that you don't need to tolerate disrespect or mistreatment because you know your value. You start to act in ways that reflect the belief that you are worthy of good things, and as a result, people begin to treat you accordingly. Self-worth is also deeply tied to setting healthy boundaries, which we've already discussed. When you know your value, you no longer feel the need to apologize for your needs or desires. You don't feel guilty for saying no or for prioritizing your own happiness. Your worth comes from being true to yourself, not from pleasing others or conforming to their expectations. When you respect yourself, others will follow suit. If you consistently honor your boundaries and your values, people will respect that. And those who don't are simply not meant to be in your life. It's also important to remember that your self-worth is not static. It grows and evolves over time as you become more self-aware and engage in practices that foster personal growth. This includes taking care of your mental, emotional, and physical health, investing in your personal development, and continuously challenging yourself to step out of your comfort zone. Each step forward in your journey of self-growth reinforces your sense of worth, reminding you that you are capable of achieving great things. It's about celebrating your progress, no matter how small, and acknowledging your accomplishments along the way. When you have a solid sense of self-worth, you can weather life's storms with resilience. You don't rely on external factors to feel secure or validated. You know that no matter what happens, you are enough. Challenges and setbacks no longer define you because your worth is not contingent on success or failure. You understand that you are valuable simply by being you, and that knowledge gives you the courage to face obstacles head-on. Ultimately, self-worth is about knowing that you are deserving of love, respect, and success, not because of what you do or how you look, but simply because you are a human being worthy of dignity and respect. When you truly believe in your value, you stop compromising on what matters. You stop settling for less than you deserve, and you make choices that honor who you are and where you want to go. And when you live with this understanding, you become an unstoppable force, one that attracts positivity, opportunity, and genuine relationships, all grounded in mutual respect. When you know your worth, the world will take notice and you will begin to unlock the full potential that has always been inside you. Taking responsibility for your own actions is one of the most empowering things you can do in your life. It's about owning your choices, whether they lead to success or failure, and understanding that you have the power to shape your own destiny. Too often, people look to external circumstances or others to explain why things are the way they are in their lives. They blame their upbringing, their past mistakes, or the people around them for their current situation. But the moment you stop placing blame and start taking full accountability for your actions, everything changes. You realize that you are the one who controls your path, your reactions, and ultimately your future. Taking responsibility means acknowledging that your actions, decisions, and behaviors have consequences, good or bad. It's easy to blame external factors when things aren't going right. It's easy to point fingers to say it's because of this person or I wasn't given the opportunity. But the real transformation begins when you look inward, when you start to ask yourself, what could I have done differently, or how can I learn from this experience? It's about recognizing that while you may not always control the circumstances you find yourself in, you absolutely control how you respond to them. When you own your part in any situation, you empower yourself to make different choices and move forward in a way that's aligned with your goals and values. Responsibility is about understanding that you are not a victim of life, you are an active participant in it. Even in challenging situations, there is always a way to respond in a way that reflects your character and your purpose. The difference between people who succeed and those who stagnate often lies in their ability to take responsibility. Those who take ownership of their actions see challenges as opportunities for growth. They don't run from their mistakes, they confront them, learn from them, and use them as stepping stones to greater success. People who blame others for their situation often stay stuck in a cycle of frustration and complacency. They wait for circumstances to change or for someone else to take action, but true change starts when you take full ownership of your own life. It's also important to understand that taking responsibility is not about being perfect or never making mistakes. In fact, making mistakes is an essential part of the process. No one achieves anything worthwhile without experiencing setbacks. What matters is how you respond to those mistakes. Do you make excuses or do you take accountability? Do you learn from them or do you continue to repeat them? The most successful people are not the ones who never fail. They are the ones who take full responsibility for their failures, analyze them, and adjust their approach. Taking responsibility also means taking care of yourself physically, emotionally, and mentally. It's about recognizing that you are the one who sets the boundaries in your life. If you're feeling drained or overwhelmed, it's up to you to address it. If your relationships are unhealthy, it's your responsibility to either fix them or remove yourself from toxic situations. You don't wait for someone else to solve your problems. You understand that it is your life, your health, your happiness, and you have the power to make decisions that will move you toward the life you want. When you take responsibility for your actions, you also learn to be honest with yourself. It's easy to deceive others, but it's much harder to deceive yourself. Taking responsibility means being real about where you are in life, what you've done, and what you haven't done. It's about being truthful about your strengths and weaknesses and using that self-awareness to become better. When you're honest with yourself, you're able to acknowledge your mistakes, face your fears, and celebrate your achievements without self-deception. This honesty leads to a deeper sense of self-respect. Because when you can look yourself in the mirror and say, I've done everything I can to own my actions, you stand tall with integrity. Additionally, taking responsibility for your actions requires a shift in mindset. It's about transitioning from a reactive mindset, where you blame external factors, to a proactive one, where you take control. It's about embracing the idea that your future is in your hands and that you have the ability to create the life you want. When you make this shift, you stop waiting for things to happen to you, and instead you make things happen. You realize that your success or failure is a direct result of the decisions you make on a daily basis, and you begin to make those decisions intentionally with purpose and clarity. Ultimately, taking responsibility for your own actions is an act of self-empowerment. It's about realizing that you are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the architect of your life, and the choices you make today will shape your tomorrow. It's about owning your path, being accountable for your decisions, and recognizing that your future is in your hands. The moment you embrace this power, you unlock the potential within you to achieve great things. Responsibility is not a burden, it's a privilege, because it means you have the power to create the life you deserve. Recognizing that success doesn't come without sacrifice is one of the most important realizations you can have in your journey. Success in any area of life, whether in your career, personal goals, or relationships, requires hard work, perseverance, and the willingness to make difficult choices. It's about understanding that if you want to achieve something meaningful, you must be willing to give up certain comforts or indulge in temporary discomfort. Sacrifice isn't about giving up everything, it's about giving up what no longer serves you to make room for what will take you to the next level. When you embrace this concept, you stop looking at sacrifice as something negative. Instead, you begin to see it as an essential part of the process, a necessary step toward your ultimate goals. The truth is, we live in a society that often promotes instant gratification, the idea that we can have everything we want when we want it with minimal effort. Whether it's through social media, marketing, or other platforms, we are constantly bombarded with messages that suggest success is quick and easy. The reality, however, is far different. Behind every success story, there's a long period of hard work, rejection, failure, and sacrifice. The people who seem to have it all didn't get there by luck alone. They sacrificed their time, their energy, their comfort zones, and even relationships at times to reach the level they are at today. Sacrifice is the price you pay for progress, and without it, you will find yourself stuck in the same place year after year. Sacrifice requires a shift in mindset. It's about being willing to delay gratification for the sake of a greater reward down the road. It might mean waking up earlier to work on your goals while others are sleeping, or giving up certain luxuries or leisure activities to invest in your future. It could involve turning down invitations or opportunities that would sidetrack you from your vision. When you make these sacrifices, it's not about denying yourself joy or pleasure. It's about understanding that the choices you make today will shape your future. If you're serious about creating the life you envision, you will need to make some tough decisions. Some things will have to go. so that better things can come in. In conclusion, the path to success and personal growth is not an easy one, and it's certainly not without sacrifice. The lessons shared here today are not about being perfect, but about embracing the power of accountability, self-respect, and a mindset that refuses to settle for anything less than what you deserve. Success requires you to be clear about your boundaries, to value your worth, and to take full responsibility for your actions. It's about showing the world that you're not afraid to make hard choices, to put in the work, and to rise above challenges. Too many people fall into the trap of wanting success without truly understanding what it takes to achieve it. They want the rewards without the struggle. But the truth is, you can't have one without the other. The sacrifices you make today, whether it's time, effort, or relationships, are the stepping stones that will carry you to the life you desire. Keep your eyes focused on the bigger picture and trust that every step, every challenge, and every sacrifice is moving you closer to the person you are meant to become. So stand firm in your purpose, own your journey, and remember that you have the power to shape your own future. And here's the final thing: lead, don't follow. Don't wait for someone else to show you the way. You've got everything you need to lead yourself and everyone around you. Show them what it means to stand tall, to walk with purpose, to live with authenticity. Lead by example, and don't ever apologize for it. Thank you.